Next, when we come up to the prosthetic stage, now what is prosthesis? Let's understand that a prosthesis is a artificial limb or a device that replaces the missing or dysfunctional part to help with the function and mobility. Now prosthesis can be divided into temporary one and a final or definitive one. There are few basic differences between these two. Now the temporary prosthesis takes about 2 weeks for the manufacture. The final, the definitive prosthesis takes about 2 to 3 months to manufacture. Temporary prostheses are quick and easy, and they are cheap and light and very simple to wear and remove, whereas these definitive ones has to be learnt, and the measurement are taken only after the shrinkage completes in the definitive prosthesis, whereas the temporary prosthesis is provided to allow the time for the stump shrinkage to take place. Now the components of prosthesis include a socket that acts as an interface between the patient and the prosthesis, a suspension that holds the prosthesis to the stump, joints, these are the artificial mechanical joints. There's a base that provides the floor contact, and its material could be metal, leather, plastic, wood, etc. So we have to have a satisfactory fitting of the prosthesis. Only then we can proceed to training and re-education. It's important to educate the patient about prosthesis. Basically everything related to prosthesis, its components, the fitting and how to don and off, and taking care of the prosthesis and the skin, etc. For lower limb amputation, we can use a transmetatarsal, below knee, also includes patella tendon bearing, above knee, below knee, and a mid thigh. We have to educate the person about limitations of activities that could have been happening due to the prosthetic limb, and to early detect any complications due to the prosthesis, to teach them the functions of various components of the prosthesis. Now we have to restore their functional independence. Basically it is taught to move up and down, side to side on the bed by pressing on the side of the stump, to begin sitting up from lying down by pushing down with the arm as soon as the drips are removed. We got to help them with good trunk rotation for reaching activities, and exercises that has to be started as soon as the patient is able. Now exercises such as resisted pulley work, mat exercises, slow reversal or repeated contraction, trunk rotation, as I said. We have to also note that we need to avoid certain complications or certain faulty posture that could have been happening due to prosthesis, or certain weakness in the muscles such as knee buckling. The knee buckling could be due to the weaker quadriceps, so we have to strengthen the quadriceps, and wherein the person cannot straighten their knee when the heel strikes the ground is where we see knee buckling happening. And there could be pain from ill-fitting socket, so change the socket. And we can see vaulting. So vaulting is a term that is used when you lift your body up onto the heel of the good foot in order to swing your prosthetic leg forward. So why this vaulting happens is because if there is prosthesis that is too long, if there is inadequate suspension of the prosthesis. So in these cases, we have to manage with the suspension and improve the prosthesis fitting. We can see prosthetic sticking out, that is, due to the muscle imbalance between the abductors and the adductors, the prosthesis sticks out away from the body during stance phase. We can see circumduction happening. Now circumduction is the wide arc movement of the prosthetic limb during swing phase, as we all know. Why it happens is again because if the prosthesis is too long, or the suspension is inadequate, or the prosthetic knee doesn't bend enough. Or in all the cases of transtibial or transfemoral amputation, we perform these exercises: stability of both the legs, knee control, stability on prosthesis, that is step-ups with the amputated leg, kicking a ball with the amputated leg, stepping ahead, stepping backward, stepping sideways with the amputated leg. Make sure vaulting doesn't happen. Pelvic control, proprioception exercises, the clockwise manner one, stepping with the good leg. So in case of bilateral amputation, we have to include the wheelchair. So the person has to be taught everything related to wheelchair, and we have to make sure that there is elevated armrest, there is a leg rest that helps assisting in the transfers. We have to teach them mat exercises, mat activities that improves the proprioception and the balance. So we have to strengthen the upper limb, and basic functional mobility training has to be given that will help in assistance and independent movement, independent mobility of the person. Now we also include advanced training wherein there is obstacle training. Now what is obstacle training is basically when a person has to move around in and around any obstacle, such as we will assist them simulate certain activities, certain scenario wherein there is walking around the furniture, rugs or any other obstacles, walking in a busy hallway, a mall or a shopping complex. So picking up an object from the floor, we teach them carrying an object while walking, resilience to various chairs of different heights and the seats, clearing steps and ramp mobility is taught. Now we have to also make sure that a few key muscles of hip are being trained. Certain hip muscles can go into tightness or weakness that could profoundly impact on the ability of the person to walk with the prosthesis, and which also takes up more energy. So energy conservation is again important in these people, which again affects, and then there could be fear of walking and then falling often. So to avoid all these, hip muscles has to be trained well. So coming to the hip flexors, they play a major role in clearing the swing phase. So it helps advancing the limb during the swing phase forward. And hip extensors, basically pulling the leg behind or the back, stabilizing it during the stance phase. Hip abductors has to be trained because if there is weakness, there could be excessive bending. So it also helps in trunk control. Hip adductors, if it is weak, then prosthetic limb extends away from the body. So then comes our gait training. So it is noted and it is found that gait training in younger people or younger amputees can take up to 1 week, and for elderly people it almost takes about 2 weeks and more. So we have to help the person inspect their stump every day and increase walk time each day with the prosthesis. We can use a full length mirror so that the person can observe and correct their faults, and while walking, while even using the parallel bar, if there is a mirror in front of them, it will help a lot in the biofeedback. And we have to help the person understand if there is any weight gains or weight loss, so that could interrupt in the prosthesis fitting.